Hey, good morning. This specific video is just for a little bit of insight that I came into this morning's meditation. Sorry, it's like, like, oh my God, I gotta do a video on it. Just a video for this information. Okay, so something that came up for me is one of my experiences in Thailand. So my husband and I, we do a lot of work with the homeless community and other communities as well, but that's our focus. And so we're always looking out for philanthropic opportunity for ourselves, and we always love to understand how others deal with helping others specifically. And so we're, looking out and it's like, we haven't seen any homeless people. What do you think that's about? And so we started asking questions. And we had this awesome tour guide. And she said, well, we don't have homeless people here because they all go to the temples with the monks and the monks take care of them there. And so we're like, oh, wow, that's why every morning at 5 a.m. So we had already been observing this, and we would have breakfast at sunrise, and we would see the monks gathering food offerings is what they call them, from all the businesses and all the homes. And they would just walk and pick up the food, and they would give a blessing for the person giving the offering. And they had carried it in these bags, and they just balanced it all, and it's seriously the most beautiful thing. So we would watch this every morning. And so when the tour guide was explaining to us that what they do is they make their rounds every morning, and the people now have breakfast, they have lunch, all of their needs are met through donation of the community. And so this is how they look out for one another. And then she took that story a step further, and she said that when she was a troubled child, they were very poor, and the mother said, I'm going to take you to get help through the monks, sorry. And so they dropped her off, and they returned her, and she was like new, and she's like, now, I have a degree, I speak English fluently, I know everything about my country, and I tell people all about it as a job, and I have a wonderful life. And it was like, wow, this is how they do things here, and they look out for each other, and it's so beautiful. But I would just think, wow, that is some serious discipline every single day. Such a selfless act. And, it was just the routine, and it was for the greater good of the community, for all of the people, the children that were being nurtured and cared for, when society couldn't do it, or other obligations, whatever, no judgment on why they do the things they do. But it was amazing to communicate with the product of that. And so it had me thinking about my own journey and myself as a little girl, when I would stand in line to get a sack lunch in the summers, or I didn't eat. And so now as an adult, we do food handouts, and it's sack lunches, and I get so emotional all the time when I'm experiencing being on the other end of it, and just remembering how it's what I prayed for. I prayed as a little girl that I could help others. And I never was specific, but that's my life. I help others in so many ways, and it's just who I am. And so my husband and I were having a discussion just yesterday, and it kind of went into like this whole thing, because we were having a discussion about a women's shelter that I adopted. They didn't know I adopted them, but I adopted them. I committed myself to, giving them what they need and being there for them as a support system. And so he says, he said, I dropped that stuff off, at Shannon's Hope that you told me to take over there. He's like, it would appear like you were there every week, like you were their buddy, like you hung out there all the time. He's like, they really respect you. And he's like, and it's like they know you so well. And I chuckled a little bit, and it's like, because when I had said to them the first time, it's like, you'll see me again. And, to them, it's like, we'll see. That's what everybody says, kind of thing. And I do things for them through my husband. He gives out clothing to homeless, and a lot of time he has excess or things that the homeless population can't use, but people that have shelter, which, you know, this is a women's shelter, so they have different needs. And so we always make sure that we get the stuff we have in the right hands. And so he had large size shampoos, conditioners, meds, things that he can't hand out to the homeless population. So I said, just take it to them. You know, I've dropped off gallons, and they're like, okay, this will last 2 weeks. And I'm like, they need it. It doesn't matter how much it is. And he's like, I think it's too much. It's in my whole truck. And I'm like, nope, take it. And so I get to be there for them through afar, and I don't even see them with the majority of the things that I send their way. And I still, like, to me, like I said, I adopted them, and I'm always going to look out for them in whatever way that I can figure out. And it's a lot like my shamanic work. And it's like, oh my God, it all makes sense. I get it. So I have all these experiences and lessons and wisdom that I've come across in my life that is mine, that nobody could have taught me. Nobody could have explained to me this stuff for me to comprehend to the extent that I comprehend this stuff. So it's like, now I'm sharing that with people. Like, I've been in my mind such a weirdo, and I'm like, oh my God, if people knew what went on in my mind. And for once in my life, I'm starting to, like, this is what's really going on in my head, and this is why I think the way I think, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And, you know, and I've been doing this for a while, but I'm just gonna let you know. And so it's like, this is what you do. You look out for people, and, you know, it's not a hierarchy or, you know, a book of, you know, follow these things and you're considered to be, you know, a healer. It's like, no, you heal yourself, and then you heal everyone around you through just like, what is the word? Evidence, your evidence of what can be done. And it depends on how long they've known you, where they're like, oh shit, if she could do it, I could do it. And so something that has been said to me a lot is people assume that I was fed with the silver spoon, or, yeah, I bet your parents are great. And it's like, well, I didn't really have parents, and, you know, my paranoid schizophrenic mother was not capable, so I was able to be there for her, really. And so that was my journey, but it's like up to me to share those things in order for people to understand where my heart lies and where the information that I share actually comes from. And that's on me, how I present myself and what I share about myself, and if I do at all. And honestly, it's a little intimidating because I'm doing these videos every single day, and I don't feel up to it a lot. And I just realized that I'm in my little bubble in my home, and I'm safe and protected. Why not share these things with the world? Like, it's a different time. It's definitely time to reinvent the wheel. You know, we're all getting hit hard, like, on our asses, and it's up to us to recreate ourselves and just become whatever, you know, suits us in an individual way. Something kind of cool happening right now in my life is that my husband and I are rescuing a dog, a chow, possibly. We got to see if our dog likes him, you know, if they get along. And his name's Teddy. So we were thinking of names, and I'm like, what if his name's Theodore Roosevelt? And it's like, okay, his name can't be Roosevelt, or, you know, and I'm just like, that's my favorite quote. And then I thought back at all the times I used the man in the arena quote to get me through things. And I would remind myself, like, I'm fucking trying. And, you know, if you're a spectator and you're just watching and you're critical, like, you don't count to the person you're criticizing. You don't even count to yourself. That's why you're criticizing someone else. So it was one of those things where it's like, wow, and it's my husband's, one of his favorite quotes as well. So we agreed that it would be a great name for our pet, our rescue. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, every time I, you know, call him Theo, or, you know, his name's Teddy now, I'm always going to remember the quote. And that's super cool to just have in the house, right? So anyway, that's my insight. That's the stuff that came to me, and I hope it helps. Have a wonderful day. If you are on Instagram, follow me on Shaman Plant Med. That's me. And I have a YouTube channel. Obviously, you're watching it, so subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. Thank you.